Soon, he decided to create havoc in the village again, to draw out the warrior who he knew would come. This time, he dug a very big hole in the ground and covered it with leaves. As a young maiden was returning home from the stream, she fell into the big hole and broke her leg. The young maiden screamed out in extreme pain as she pleaded for someone to save her. Story. Once upon a time, there lived a very beautiful girl named Zainab. She was the only child of the village head chief. Zainab was extremely beautiful, but despite her beauty, something stood out about her. She had the voice of a man. Whenever she spoke, her voice sounds very deep, making her sound very masculine, and that shocked everyone. She hated the look on faces of people whenever she spoke, and this resulted in her speaking less, as she did everything to avoid the strange looks that she always got. One day, Ali, a very handsome man from the neighboring village, visited her father for some business meeting. During their conversation, Zainab came to drop the palm wine her father requested for. The young man was surprised yet happy to see Zainab, as he had met her at the festival recently, and her beauty was so captivating. After his meeting with the chief, Ali requested to talk to his daughter. The head chief then called out her name. Zainab, Zainab, come out, my visitor wants to have a word with you. Soon she appeared, and the chief excused them. As they sat next to each other, Zainab felt her heart race. She feared how Ali would react when he finally heard her speak, so she did everything possible to remain mute. She smiled as Ali spoke, using hand gestures and head movements to communicate her responses to him. Ali found the gestures confusing as he wondered why she had not uttered a word to him. Filled with curiosity, Ali asked Zainab why she had refused to speak, and she just stared right at him as she summoned the courage to finally speak. Immediately, Zainab spoke up to apologize to the prince. Her deep voice echoed through the room, causing Ali to nearly spill his drink. Despite her charm and beauty, the young man could not shake his discomfort as he left her father's place in a hurry. This was the 5th man that was leaving Zainab because of her voice, and this hurt her deeply as she retired to her room and began to weep. Zainab had done everything possible to win the heart of a man, but no man was willing to settle with a woman whose voice was deeper than that of a man. Her father, the head chief, on hearing what had happened between his daughter and Ali, began to worry as he thought of what to do. Every herbalist around have come to assess her voice and even prescribed several herbs and medicines, but none of their recommendations worked, as Zainab's voice deepened as each day passed. Later at night, the chief was still thinking in his courtyard when some youths approached him to reveal that their village market had just suffered a small attack. But the youths had a shocking look on their faces as they told the chief that a strange man that no one knew single-handedly captured the perpetrators of the attack, saving the entire market men and women from the hands of the attackers. The chief stared at them in amazement as he wondered who this strange warrior was. By morning, the villagers whispered about the strange man, and everyone wondered who he was and where he could have gone. Even Zainab was shocked to hear how the strange man fought off over 10 men by himself and wondered where he drew such strength from. However, her mind quickly remembered her encounter with Ali the previous day as her smile dimmed into sadness. She looked into the mirror and wondered how a beautiful girl like her would have the voice of a man. Zainab sat in her room thinking when Medina, her best friend, walked into the room and tried to cheer her up. Medina had a way of making Zainab smile whenever she was overwhelmed with sadness, and this was why Zainab was so fond of her. Days passed, and the villagers could not stop talking about the strange warrior that saved their village. Everyone wanted to know who he was, and soon rumors began to circulate that a young man in the village named Salam had come forward to say that he was the warrior who saved the villagers from their enemies. All the young women in the village picked an interest in him as they admired his extraordinary strength. Even the village chief requested to see Salam as he offered the position of his personal guard in his house. And Salam was so excited to be working for the village chief. He was in charge of the chief's guards and given his own room in the chief's house. Salam could not believe how quickly his life transformed as the people began to respect and admire him. He would flaunt his muscles around the village, bragging about his extraordinary strength and how he single-handedly fought off 10 hefty men. However, one hot afternoon, Zainab was asleep when she had a dream. She met a very handsome man who introduced himself to her as the man that saved their village from the attack. Zainab listened to the man as he narrated how he was trapped and unable to escape. Zainab tried to understand what he was talking about when she woke up from her sleep. As she pondered on what her dream meant, Zainab found herself thinking about the strange man. She could not take her mind off him and decided to find the strange man and free him from the bondage. One evening, while the entire village slept, the village was attacked again by their enemies. Salam, who was fast asleep in his quarters, was awoken by loud screams and commotions. The guards rushed in to inform him that the strange man has once again saved the village. Salam was shocked and embarrassed, realizing that his deceit had now been exposed. Terrified at what might happen to him, Salam decided to uncover the real identity of the strange warrior, hoping to eliminate him and hide his secrets. So one night, he set some of the villagers' huts on fire, not caring the consequences of his action. He knew that doing so would draw out the strange man from his hiding. And just as he predicted, the strange man emerged from the shadows to save the inhabitants of the burning huts.
If you made it this far, it means you're enjoying the story. Please kindly like and drop your comments down below. And also subscribe to this channel and make sure to turn on your notification bell to be the first to know when we drop our next story. Alright, let's get back to our story.
And Salam watched from a distance as the handsome man rescued the people from the burning huts and escaped from their presence. Salam trailed the strange man and was shocked at what he discovered. "It cannot be," he said to himself as he paused in confusion. By morning, words of the strange man's good deeds spread around the village once again, reaching the chief, who had now grown desperate to meet the strange man. The chief, on realizing that Salam was a fraud, relieved him of his position as his personal guard. The chief then decreed that anyone who knows the identity of the strange man and where he lived should come forward, as they will be handsomely rewarded by him. Everyone was now on the lookout to discover the identity of the man who had remained a mystery to the entire village. Salam, knowing who the strange man was, approached the chief to reveal that the strange man lived in the same compound with the chief. He recounted the events of the previous night and how the strange man transformed into his daughter before his eyes. He watched in awe as the young man's masculine form transformed into the slender body of beautiful Zainab, who climbed into the compound through the forests. Zainab transformed into the warrior at night but was unaware of her transformations. While she believed she was in bed sleeping, her body transformed into that of a warrior who safeguarded the people at night, ensuring that no harm befell the people of the village. When Salam made this revelation known to the chief rebuked him and ordered his guards to take him away. The chief could not believe that his daughter transformed into a man at night, as the thought of this terrified him greatly. Determined to find out the truth, he stayed awake that night As the moon rose, he watched in astonishment as his daughter Zainab transformed into the powerful warrior. Tears filled his eyes as he realized the burden his daughter had been carrying. The chief then spoke to the warrior, asking why he had taken over his daughter's body. The warrior told him that on the day Zainab was born, he died and transferred to Zainab's body because she was the only baby born at the time he had died. He told the chief that he had no other option but to take over her body and enable him live to protect the village from every harm. The chief then asked what could be done to separate them so he can allow his daughter live a normal life. The warrior told the chief that he could only be allowed to leave Zainab's body when his mission on earth was over. The warrior was sent to stop a great calamity from befalling the entire village, and for years he had acted as their protector, saving the villagers from numerous harms. All this while, Zainab had no idea she was the warrior. Her father called her the next morning to break the news to her, as she could not believe her ears. Suddenly, she remembered her dream of the man who told her that he was trapped, and everything began to make more sense to her. As she realized that she had been living as a man and a woman for so many years. Her deep voice was a result of the warrior spirit residing within her. And Zainab, although frightened at the revelation, was comforted by the fact that her body was being used to protect her own people. Meanwhile, Salam, driven by greed and a desire to reclaim his false glory, devised a plan to eliminate the warrior. He met a powerful sorcerer who told him that eliminating the warrior would transfer the warrior spirit into him, making him a very powerful man. Salam's plan was to use his powers to overturn the village chief and claim the title for himself. So he asked the sorcerer for the best way to kill the warrior, and he was given a weirdly shaped object, which he was to use to stab the warrior. The evil sorcerer told Salam that once he stabbed the warrior with the object, the warrior's powers would transfer to him, making him extremely powerful. Salam was so excited to hear this. Soon, he decided to create havoc in the village again, to draw out the warrior who he knew would come. This time, he dug a very big hole in the ground and covered it with leaves. As a young maiden was returning home from the stream, she fell into the big hole and broke her leg. The young maiden screamed out in extreme pain as she pleaded for someone to save her. Her cries attracted the attention of the warrior, who rushed to the scene to save her life. As he approached the hole, Salam, who was hiding nearby, rushed behind him to strike, when suddenly his stomach began to grow so big, leading him to scream out in pain. What Salam did not know was that the strange object the sorcerer gave him was cursed. However, the curse could only be activated if it was brought in close contact with a virgin. Salam, oblivious of this, brought the object close to the virgin maiden, who he trapped in the hole, causing his stomach to swell profusely. His greed backfired as he began to suffer the consequences of his actions. The entire village heard his screams and gathered as they took him right to the chief, who banished him out of the village and warned him never to return. The innocent virgin was saved, and the calamity which was to befall the entire village was averted, restoring peace to the village. The warrior's mission was complete, and his spirit finally left Zainab's body, and she felt a profound sense of ease. Zainab's deep voice transformed into a sweet and soothing voice, shocking the entire village, including her father. News of Zainab's transformation spread around the village, and all the men who once rejected her because of her voice regretted their decision. Some even came to ask for her hand in marriage, but she rejected them without thinking twice. That was how the rejected beautiful lady became the most sought after in the entire village, as her voice not only transformed, but became the most soothing voice the villagers had ever heard. The lesson of this story is that evil always has an expiry date. Learn to respect and regard people regardless of their unique attributes, as everyone has something valuable to offer. Thank you for joining me on today's journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Also, share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Until next time, keep the imaginations alive. Bye.